Thank you for your patience, everyone. Again, my name is John, and welcome to our webinar today. We will be talking about um, the billing module in INSZoom. So we've got a couple of things set up for today's session. Today's webinar, unlike the previous ones, is scheduled for an hour. So we'll have enough of time for any kind of interaction as well as Q&A. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So in today's session, I'm going to introduce the speakers. We have two of us. So we'll see who's going to also talk and share their ideas and experience about INSZoom and the billing module today. We will kind of have an overview of billing. The presentation I have here will kind of give you a fair idea as to what we are going to talk about today. After which we'll get into some poll questions. I've set up about 5 poll questions, pretty simple ones. I just want to kind of gauge the knowledge of my participants today. Don't really have to worry about the questions. It's just yes or no replies. And your name is not going to come up on my screen as to who answered what. It's just the percentage that will show up, and that'll give us a fair idea as to, the kind of audience we have today. After that, we will get into the application. I will switch screens, get into the INSZoom application, and kind of take you all through an agenda of things. We will talk about the agenda in a minute or two, but we will definitely discuss the main features of the billing module, and that'll give you a fair idea as to what you can do with the billing application on INSZoom. Um, we should have about 10 to 15 minutes, towards the end of today's session to take questions from you. So if you look at your webinar screen, onto the right panel, that should give you an option to type in your questions. So if you have any questions, even during the webinar, just enter it in there. And towards the end, let's say about 10 or 15 minutes, again, if time permits, we will definitely look at the questions, and we will try and answer them on our webinar today. If not, if we run out of time, we will take those questions and respond to them via email, or we'll get our support team to contact you and provide those answers. So this is me. My name is John Christie. I'm the Customer Success Manager at INSZoom. I've been with INSZoom for over 9 years now, and I've been with different departments: sales, implementation, product management, learning academy, as well as product and process improvement. The reason I'm showcasing these skills is because over the period of time, I've spoken to over 800 law firms and many corporates out there, and kind of built on knowledge as to what is really required from a law firm standpoint or from a corporation standpoint, and what are the challenges people go through every day with their immigration cases. So that kind of is a reason why I'm hosting this webinar today. Along with me, I have my colleague, Shadow Lopez, who will also assist me in today's webinar. So I'll let Shadow introduce herself. Shadow, over to you.
Thank you, John. Hello, everyone. My name is Shadow Lopez, and I have been using INSZoom, the actual application, for almost 18 years, even before I joined the company as team lead best practices early this year. I have worked for immigration law firms for more than 2 decades, and I'm highly involved in case management, actually from case inception up to closing of the case, including training staff, billing, marketing, and lead generation. So just to give you a brief summary, I'm part of today's presentation because I was actually part kind of when we regarding this billing module inception and creation. So early times, like olden times, I was part of the billing module already. So I, John, back to you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Lopez. Thank you, Shadow. Having said that, folks, Shadow brings a lot of experience and knowledge about immigration to the table, and she's going to be really helpful on today's webinar. So feel free to kind of add your questions to our webinar section if you have any kind of questions pertaining to billing. Thank you. Moving forward, INSZoom Billing is included in our professional and enterprise editions. Now, I know that we sent this out to standard clients as well, and we have some clients using a Forms edition product, which is not available for new users anymore. But the reason we've done that is to kind of showcase as to what you can gain when you upgrade to professional or enterprise. I've spoken to a lot of law firms, as I mentioned earlier, and the biggest reason why people upgrade to professional or enterprise when it comes to billing is to kind of make sure everything is in one place, right? So when you click into a case, you have all information about the case on the same page. Along with that, you also have the invoice and all the information pertaining to the invoice right there, to kind of look into and check what's happening. Having said that, um, this particular billing module was built with immigration practice in mind, right? INSZoom Billing allows you to send invoices and reminders directly from the application. So you don't have to rely on another application, and you don't really have to pay for another application because we don't charge for INSZoom Billing. It's part of your standard license fee. So yes, so if standard clients are listening to this webinar, do take advantage by upgrading your account to professional. Having said that, you can also link cases as well as timers, create custom payment plans. Now that is something that's really big, and I've heard a lot of law firms, a lot of clients tell me that there are different ways they charge their customers. So some of them have a flat fee. Some people do payment plans. Some people start with a kind of upfront payment and then they switch to payment plans. So having payment plans as part of your billing software is really very important. And we also have a way how you can manage your receivables. So with INSZoom, you will be able to kind of run through all of these. We will kind of talk about some of those features in today's demonstration. But if you have any questions whatsoever, questions that were or topics that were not discussed in today's demonstration, please feel free to call us after our session today. Sorry. So talking about this screen here, there's a screenshot of what an invoice looks like. We will get into the live product and kind of look at the entire invoice page. So that'll give you a fair idea as to what you'll be looking at if you start using INSZoom Billing, if you're not using it already. Having said that, we partner with LawPay as well as authorized.net for online payments. So if you already have an account with them, now is the right time to kind of start using the billing feature within INSZoom. So this screen, we are going to address 2 points here. Shadow is going to take over this particular slide, but the reason we added these two points here is to kind of tell you the importance of having billing as part of the same software as your immigration, and how you can really take advantage of our billing module, during these times that we are in. So Shadow, over to you.
Hello again, everyone. So I previously mentioned that I was an office administrator for various law firms for a very long time. And around that time, some years ago, I needed to find an easy way to give all 45 paralegals and attorneys access to a client's billing or the retainer bill history. So how do I do that? I reached out to INSZoom and kind of thought about asking them to at least add somewhere in the application where I can quickly have a view of a client's account history. So that's the start of the inception of the module. Because I really, what I was trying to avoid that time is, the phone tagging or exchange of communication between accounting department, the client, just so you get to answer a really simple question from a client, like just a client asking for their balance. And you have to wait hours or days sometimes just to get a hold of someone to get that information over to the client. And since most of us, like in the immigration industry, we're all client facing, we're always talking to the clients. It's good to have something in place so that we can view their account status. It's also a good habit, and I've kind of implemented this in the law firm, to have a quick view of the client's account status before they start calling or before they start emailing the client. Because having this module, it gives you a summary of what they owe or what they need to pay, or at least if they're having payment issues. It gives you a way to remind your clients to settle their balance or their accounts, or if they're behind payments, you can ask them if there's anything you can do if they have not been paying. You can come up with a new payment plan, because it's easy to just design a payment plan in the application. Because in reality, we don't want to be working on a case that has not been paid. I mean, I'm sure all of you can relate to that. Like, you spent hours and hours just to find out that the client is only paid maybe 10% of the contract. Um, Not to be heartless, but as much as we want to help our clients, we also need to get paid. We need that to keep our practice going. With the billing module, we have all these client information about billing right in front of us. So no need to phone tag or, call your accounting department just for little things. It's also good for people who go to court, like or attorneys who go to their clients and interviews, to have a quick look of the case of the billing history of the client. Um, of course, after every successful case, it's good to collect whatever's left. Or a lot of times, I know a lot of law firms come into these issues when client already got a green card and you never heard anything back from them. So at the end of the day, you were not paid for the rest of the contract. So having the billing module kind of gives you a check and balance to see where you are, where the clients are at with their payments. Because it's not just really case management. I mean, it's still at the end of the day a business. We're trying to, make it work for you, for both the client and your company or your practice or your law firm. So payments also are recorded in real time. It is automatically entered into the client's profile. So day to day, sometimes your paralegals or case team will try to collect balances from the clients, and then you get into those embarrassing moments when client tells you, "Hey, I already paid." INSZoom is there. It tells you even before you talk to them or even before you collect, you know already that there is payment made by the client. As I mentioned, like before going to court, it's good to check, like before going to interviews, just so we avoid, not being paid after the case is done, or after we, or before, even before we close the case. Another important feature is that it diverts manual data entry efforts to something more profitable. Since the module has account receivables, you have sort of an idea how much you can collect or how much you're going to be earning in the coming months. That's good. Like if you're a decision maker, if you're looking at it from a return of investment or business standpoint, it's good to have the billing module there without having, long conversations and asking for numerous reports from your accountant or your accounting department. Um, and just to add, like right now, we are in this very strange and challenging time of our lives. Like all of us are forced to work at home remotely. And this is where I realized how important it is to have a billing system built into your software because obviously we're all at our homes. How do you bill your clients? Like, how do you send invoices? The module will help you send invoices even without going to the post office or having to spend on postage. Almost every one of us are on lockdown. We still work on our cases, we still advise our clients, and we still continuously submit applications. And at the same time, we still need to bill our clients, or we need to collect their filing fees so that we can file their case. So having to be able to have that capability to accept online payments for new contracts, monthly fees, and even filing fees will help you keep afloat during this very challenging time. The portal will also assist you in projecting revenue in the coming months. Like, as we all know, income and lead generation has put everyone in a tight spot right now. This module, together with other built-in reports in INSZoom, might even help you generate new business. Since we're all here, we're all stuck at home, it makes it easy for us to send all messages like billing messages to our clients. And then I'm sure a lot of you are getting calls from clients wanting to hold their payments, or some are not able to make monthly payments at this time. INSZoom module, billing module can help you track these calls, write your notes, and later on, when things go back to normal, hopefully, you can go back and run a report and reconnect with these clients. And last but not the least, you can answer billing inquiries remotely without having the need to have access to your maybe QuickBooks or another accounting software that's preloaded into your server, or with only one person has access in the office. You can answer your client inquiries or billing questions from your home or while you're working at home. And I don't want to make this too complicated for everyone. Actually, the billing module is very much straightforward. I want to stick to the basics here before I end. INSZoom Billing Portal will help you send invoices. Just to summarize, receive and collect payments quickly. It creates an open communication between you and your clients regarding their bill. And more importantly, right now, you can access it anywhere, anytime if you need to collect or bill or talk to a client. So that's all I have. If you have questions later on, you can go ahead and ask me. I will now circle back to John, and thanks everyone. And I hope you're all being safe and healthy.
Thank you, Shadow. Those are some very, very helpful points that you have there. Um, let's move on to our next slide. So, so these are some of the topics we are going to talk about in today's demonstration. We'll talk about access rights, and then we'll switch to how you can build or customize your invoice templates when you purchase the application. We teach, or you as a user or a client can get into INSZoom and create your own templates, and we'll kind of get into specifics about how you can do that. We will talk about creating payment plans, link cases to invoices, and once that is done, how you can send that out to your clients. And we'd also talk about setting up notifications. That is really important, because your clients will come in and they will kind of follow up with you every now and then to get updates about your case. But when it comes to invoicing, or when it comes to payment, people might really forget. So it kind of helps to kind of send them alerts on regular basis to kind of tell them that something is due. So with that said, let's switch to our application. So this is my INSZoom login. Now, if you notice onto my left menu here, I have billing already showing up. Now, for some of you who do not have this as an option onto the left or a tab onto the left, all you have to do is click into My Settings. Onto the right upper corner, you have My Settings. So click into that button right there. And when you do that, you have something called as Access Rights. Click into Access Rights. Now, when you get here, um, just check for the edit button, or if the super user or administrator is set to yes or no. Okay, if it's set to no, you won't have you won't be able to give yourself billing access. But if it's set to yes, you will be able to give yourself billing access, as well as you will be able to help anyone else in your office to get billing access if if that is something that they have to do. So on this screen, when I scroll right to the bottom, I have accounting invoice database as well as accounting report access. So click into the edit button, and you will be able to, click into the drop down and say view only or view an update. Now, sometimes, you might come across people who just want to view information on a bill, but not really making changes as far as the invoice is concerned. So for those kind of users or case managers, you might want to, click, select view only instead of view and update. So once you make this change, just go ahead and save it, and just the screen refreshes, and you'll find the billing tab onto the left. Okay. Having said that, if you want to get into our billing module and make changes or build your own invoice template, all you have to do is click into billing onto the left. The screen comes up. Now, if you want to kind of have some more room to work on your invoices or setup, just try and hit the collapse button here. So that kind of gives you a lot of room. Now onto my left here, just scroll down, and this is our next topic, billing templates. So we'll talk about some of my existing templates that I already have on INSZoom, and we'll also talk about the different elements that helps you put that fee template together. Okay, so let me open one of one of these templates just to kind of talk about what are the different elements within um, that particular template. So I'm going to click into H1B. Um, Now, if you notice, I have the description here. Now, that is something you can discuss internally and come up with the names. Some of them prefer I-129, some of them prefer H1B. So it's totally left up to you as to how you would like to name your invoice templates. Scrolling down here, these are groups. Okay, so we have different groups to start with, and under each group we have, these are called as fee items. Okay, different fee items. So all of these are predefined in a different section under billing templates itself that we'll take a look at in a bit. But we have groups, and under each groups you can pack your fee items if you want to. Now I've kind of put them into separate groups so that when I send this invoice to my client, it kind of looks clean, and they really understand as to what that is, why the you're charging them the amount that you're charging them. But over the years, I've seen clients just have one line item that kind of makes life really simple, because if you have different line items, this is just out of experience. If you have different line items, you'll probably end up creating an invoice for H1B, for adjustment of status, for asylum, so multiple invoice templates, right? But I've seen clients who just have one line item that says immigration fee, okay? And how much am I charging for this one? 3475, right? So they have the entire amount added to that one line item. Okay, or you can probably leave it as a zero value. So when you link that template to a case, then you can edit the dollar value, and you can enter the exact amount just before you send that out to your client. But the choice is yours. You can either have just one line item or multiple line items, right? So again, just to recap, groups, and these are fee items. Okay, now onto my left here, the first one, the first option under my billing template gives you a list of fee items. Okay, when you purchase INSZoom, there are a couple of fee items in your list already, so you do have the option to edit and kind of rename that based on your requirement. You do have the option to edit the dollar value, or if you want to add a new fee item, you can certainly do that by clicking into add new fee item. Just go ahead and type in the name, the rate, and you can also say whether it is income or expense. All right, so as soon as you do that, it's going to add that to your list, and that's going to make it really easy for you to pick that fee item when you're building your invoice template. Okay, so that's that. You have groups and sections here. That is also part of your invoice. So as you can see, I have different groups. Now, again, only if you want to put these fee items into different groups, would you want to create this list. But if you want to kind of have them all list under one generic group, you can just have one that says general fee items, and you can add all of it under the same group. So the choice is yours. Having said that, let's get back into our fee template right here. And I'm going to click into the H1B, going back there. Now, if you want to add more, if you want to edit the fee items here, you can hit the edit button. If you want to delete something from this list, click delete. And again, attach items is going to direct you back to the fee items list. So if I do that just to showcase, just to kind of add another item to my list. So let's say bank charges, right? So I'm going to check that and click save. Adds it to my list. So that is how simple it is to add a fee item to your invoice template. And when I click into remove, simply check the box and click delete, and that takes it out. All right. So as a person who's in charge of these kind of configurations, you would want to set this up and kind of make sure all internal discussions are kind of met before you ask your staff to start using. The reason I say that is going back into these templates are not going to be very helpful, because when it comes to billing, a lot of law firms are very strict in terms of changing these templates once it's set up. So if you're a person who's in charge of setting things up, make sure you get all the input and then create these invoice templates. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Our support team is really helpful, and they will answer any questions you may have. Now, we did see how to add, remove, edit, as well as you have the delete button. If you want to create your fee template, now this is if you want to edit an existing one, but if you want to create one from scratch, all you have to do is click into add new fee item, and that will take you to a screen to kind of select a group, and after that you will have the screen to select the fee items under each group. So I'm gonna click into add new. So let's say um, EB5, for example. I click save. And as you can see, these are the groups that I was talking about. So for this particular invoice, let's say I'm a firm who would like to just list all of my fee items under one group. So I'm just going to select one group because we already saw how multiple groups look like. Now, there's just one group here. I'm going to click into attach items, and I can say attorney fee, consulting fee, government fee. You can add miscellaneous if you want to edit that particular line item at a later stage. Premium processing fee and postage and shipping. As soon as I check all these boxes, I can click save. Now, if you have items on the next page as well, make sure you click save before you go to the next page. If not, you're going to lose these. All right. So hit save and then go to page 2 to select the rest of the items. So I'm just going to click save here. And all the fee items that I just selected gets listed out on my invoice here. Okay, so that's a quick overview as to how you can build this invoice. But if you have quick questions, do call us support. But if you want training, okay, one-on-one training, do reach out to us, and we can set that up and talk as to how you can get your staff trained on billing. All right, having said that, let's say you want to add an invoice to an ongoing case. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my main screen on my Zoom board. All right, let's say I'm working on this H1B case. Okay, I again depends on when you want to invoice your client. That is totally left up to you. But get into the case. You can also invoice this your client at different levels of the application. But in today's demonstration, we are going to see how you can invoice your clients from the case level. Okay, so to my left here, I have the invoice tab. For whatever reason, if you do not see this tab here, make sure you click into customize my shortcut and check the box. It probably would be unchecked. Check the box. Now, if that is something you would want all your case managers to have on the left menu, you'll have a button that says save for all staff. Hit that button and the same tab will be available for everybody. Okay, so let's go ahead and click into invoice. Now, as soon as I do that, if this case already has an invoice linked, it will show up here. Um, the reason I'm kind of bringing that up is because if someone else is in charge of adding an invoice to the case, they would have done it. So make sure you kind of look at that before you add another invoice. Okay. So if you're ready to add an invoice, few very simple steps. Click into add new to start with, and that's going to come up with the first screen. That's the payment term screen. Now, this is also something that you can customize to add your own drop downs. But what I'm trying to do here is select as to what date comes up on my invoice. So if I say due on receipt, it's going to display 16th of April. Okay, today's date. But you can have something that says due in 30 days, right? And the invoice will have it'll give your client about 30 days to make the payment. So it's totally left up to you as to what kind of drop downs you want to add to this section of the application. So as soon as I do that, I clicking into save and next. And my next screen is going to bring up the payers. Okay, now if you're working on a family-based case, you'll have the petitioner and the beneficiary show up. So you can choose the relevant name, and that person's information, such as the name, address, and all of that, will get into the invoice. But if you're working on an employment-based case, you have the employer and the employee. 95% of the time, I'd probably say 99% of the times, you will have you'll choose the employer. But in today's session, I'm going to choose the employee, just because I have all his information, all of Jeremy's information in there. Now, as soon as I select the employee, it says that the employee has just one case, the H1B, which is already selected. From my drop down here, I will be able to select my template. So I'm going to go with the H1B processing, the one that we just looked at. I'm going to click into add case to invoice. As soon as I do that, um, if you notice, all of Jeremy's information flows into this section of the invoice. Onto my right here, it gives me the amount that we saw earlier. The due date is 16th because I selected the payment plan as the payment term as due on receipt. Um, eh, some of these items will come back to, but scrolling down, this is the same invoice that we saw some time ago. Um, So what I can do now, even at this stage, if I want to make any edits whatsoever, I will be able to make, I can click into the edit button here. I can add more items by clicking into the add button, right? Um, if I click edit, I will be able to make changes to the dollar value for whatever reason. The attorney fee is not this amount. If I want to change that, I will be able to make that change. Now, when I do that at this level, keep in mind, the change is only applicable to this invoice and not to the template. Okay. So let's keep that in mind. So as soon as this invoice is generated, I can click into the email section here and hit email invoice. Um, and what that's going to do is it'll bring up my invoice screen, and I'll be able to type in the body of the email and send that out. But since we are running out of time, I'm not going to do that, but let me bring up the invoice and just show you how nice this page is. This is what your clients are going to look at. If you see, our design team and our engineers have done a pretty good job with this page. So this section here, I've entered my colleague's information in my settings just to kind of showcase as to what would happen in a scenario where a paralegal is raising the invoice, right? Um, the attorney or the partner's information is going to come in here and not the paralegal's information. So you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't say John Christie here, but it says Ed. Onto my right here, it will bring up your law firm's logo if you have that uploaded. Two information, my client's information, the invoice number, and as you can see, uh, again, laid out pretty well. You have your line items, it's really clear. You have the grand total, balance due, credit and escrow, all of that, neatly put into this page, so you can have that sent out. Now, that is one thing. Now, when your client makes a payment, you can click into update payment info, and you will be able to update payment. So I'm going to click into um, something very quickly here because we're running out of time. Let's say cash, and I'm going to say made a payment of 500. Going to apply 500 and hit recalculate. As soon as I do that, it adjusts the amount. And when I'm happy with that, I'm going to click save. And that's going to track that entry into my system. As you can see, I have that entry, and it gives me the timestamp and everything. And if you want to add notes, you can do that so that people looking at this particular line item knows um, uh, who did this and if there are any notes. And very quickly, there are payment plans as well. So some law firms that I talk to, they kind of get an upfront payment. Let's say in our scenario, it's $500. And so you can set up a payment plan by days or by date. So I'm going to go by date, where I'm going to charge my client, let's say 15th of every month. Let's say 5th of every month, because that's when they'll pay me. I'm going to say it starts from, I can choose any of these dates here. If I choose any date, like the 23rd, the next due date is going to be, or the payment date is going to be the 5th of next month, right? I'm going to enter amount here, let's say about $700, generate an installment plan, and that quickly brings up dates, and it breaks down these numbers, and kind of gives me a very nice payment plan. Now, if my client wants to start off by paying me, let's say 875, I can change that to 875, hit recalculate, and if you notice the last line item goes away. I'm happy with this. I click accept payment plan, and that gets linked to my account. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is you will be able to get an upfront payment, and then you will be able to set up a payment plan. It's totally doable. Or you can start with a payment plan, or if you don't want to deal with payment plans, you can simply go with flat fee and charge your clients. So have those questions, just a reminder, make sure you put in your questions in the question section. I'm going to try and wrap this up in the next couple of minutes here. With this being said, let's kind of take a quick look at the notification section. That's one of our last topics today. So to do that, I'm going to go back into our billing tab onto the left. Forgive me if I've kind of picked up on my pace here, but do ask your questions in the question section, and we'll kind of try and answer those for you. So um, notifications, I've clicked into the billing tab onto my left here, scrolling down onto my left menu, I have setup, and under that, I'm going to click into notification alerts, but do kind of take time out and click into the other tabs here to see what they really do. And if you have questions, do reach out to us. But notifications are something that's really helpful. I'm going to talk about some of them very quickly here. Now, this section here is to kind of notify your clients advanced as well as overdue reminders, okay, about payment alerts. So you can edit and kind of, set the dates as to when these notifications have to go. Is it one day in advance or one day overdue, right? And how many notifications. So if you just want two, you can kind of delete the other numbers, and that'll just send two out to your client. Okay. These are email notifications, something that you can control. If you want INSZoom to send you an email when an invoice is edited, or if you want INSZoom to send you an email if an invoice is deleted, you can always hit the edit button and enable these features. If not, you can disable them, totally left up to you. The last one talks about reminders sent to you as a case manager. So you can have this enabled, and again, you can set these dates, telling us as to um, um, telling the application as to when um, you know you have to get notification for advanced or overdue reminders. So that kind of brings us to the end of our um, webinar, but something that I forgot to do very conveniently is start these poll questions towards the beginning. But let's do that now when we have some time left. So let's switch to poll questions. Now you'll kind of have these questions pop up on your screen. So just go ahead and answer them. And I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to do that. Okay, so here you go, the first question. So again, as I told you earlier, your names are not going to come up, so feel free to kind of answer. 30 seconds up. I'm gonna close it. So about 89% of you answered yes, and that's the right question. About 11% said no. So the answer is yes, it can be done. Moving on to the next one. Can we set up payment plan reminders for clients? So that's our next question. So there you go. Coming up on 20 seconds. Fantastic, thank you. So about 98%, thank you for that. 98% of you answered yes, yes, it can be done. The answer is yes. So keep in mind, you will be able to set those set up payment reminders for your clients. Can we provide module access to case managers so they can share account information to their clients? So that's your next question that should show up on your screen. Go ahead and answer that. When you say when the question says module access is actually the billing module. Sorry if that's not clear, but can you provide billing access to other case managers so that they can provide information to clients when they call in with billing questions? So let me go ahead and close that. And 96% of you said yes, and that's the right answer. You do have the option. We did look at access rights, and you do have the option to give view or view and update access. So do look into that. Two more to go. The next question, are clients able to receive payment alerts before their due date? That's on your screen right now. Okay, time up. I'm gonna close that. 96 of you, 96% of you replied yes, and that's the right answer. So that functionality is available, so take advantage of it. And if you're not using INSZoom Billing, go ahead and start using it, or at least try it out and see how it works for you. If it doesn't work, do call us and tell us why it's not working, so we can kind of help you understand as to how you can, actually use the application. As far as the billing section is concerned. The next question is, are we able to create payment plans for clients? A very simple one, something that we just saw. So don't break my heart here. Okay, coming up on 20 seconds. Okay, let's go ahead and close the, the so, oh, fantastic. 100% says yes. So that's the right answer. I'm glad you all did get information from valuable information from this demo here, our webinar. So let me quickly go ahead and check, since we have about 3 minutes here. Let me see if I can pick up a few questions here. Is there a way to bill hourly? Yes, you can bill hourly. We have the timer tab at the client and as well as the case level. If you use it at the case level, you will be able to add those times to your invoice. There is an option on the invoice where you can from the drop down list you can select timer, and all the times that you've tracked over the period of time can be pushed into your invoice. I would recommend having a group that says, you can probably call it whatever you want to, like timer or, hourly rates or whatever. But if you can put all those line items under that group, it's going to look very nice. Can INSZoom share data with NetSuite? Now, I'm not sure what, when it comes to data sharing, integration, if you're talking about integration, yes, you can call in to kind of talk to us a little bit more about that. We'd like to know what you're really trying to accomplish here. Next question, do Lope and Authorize.net allow ACH instead of just credit card for billing per payment plan? Now that is a question I'm going to take back with me. I for sure I know they allow credit card for billing, but I'm going to email you with my reply as to if they do ACH as well. Okay, but I know for sure that they do credit card for billing. Let me see if I can pick up another question here. Something more relevant to the INSZoom billing. How do you delete a payment plan? You do have an option to get into the invoice itself under the payment plan screen to delete that. So you need to get into that screen to kind of gain access to that particular tab. So do keep your questions coming in. We do have a record of all your questions. So do send this out to us. And even though we can't answer your questions now, we will kind of take this offline and send you replies accordingly. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up today's webinar. Thanks a lot for joining in. I know that all of you are working from home, so stay safe and do contact us if you have questions. Do call into our support line. But for all the questions that have come in, we will try and reach out to you to answer them. For questions that I haven't answered on the webinar, I will contact them personally and I will give you the answer. But I'll try and reach out to you by email. But if you have any questions apart from the ones that you've put on our webinar list here, do call into support or contact me, and we will make sure we respond to you with the right explanation. And if you want any help in getting your staff to learn more about billing, if you want one-on-one training, do contact us. We can set up one-on-one training for your staff. When we do that, we can talk in particular as to what you would like to accomplish and how you want to build your templates and things like that, so that it's kind of more focused on what you want to accomplish out of the training. Having said that, thank you very much for joining today's webinar, and thank you, Shadow, for all your points that you shared in our webinar session today. Have a nice
My
day,
pleasure.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.